Certain enemies in video games weren't just spooky. They actually traumatized a whole generation. You know the ones. The enemies that made you drop the controller, turn off the console, requiring someone by your side just to play the game, or just straight up giving you nightmares. They're the reason some of us still hate water levels, dark hallways, creepy background music, or just horror games in general. And since it's the season, of course I decided to do the most obvious thing possible. A clickbaity list of the scariest video game enemies from the 90s and early 2000s. But on a serious note, I love making these because they're the same conversations I had with my friends growing up, and we still have them to this day. The only difference is now I've got a lot more friends out there watching, so I wanted to extend the conversation to you. So here's my list of the top 7 scariest enemies, and don't be shy. Let me know in the comments which ones you agree with, but more importantly, the ones that I missed. Let's get into it. Let's go ahead and start this list underwater, which already kind of puts most of us on edge. But when you first enter this level in Donkey Kong Country, you hear the soundtrack Aquatic Ambiance. One of the most iconic, relaxing game tracks of all time. It makes you almost forget about any danger in the level. Now that I think about it, feel free to just sit here for a moment if you'd like. This level had fish, clams, even sharks, but the real terror, coming in at number 7, is the Croctopus. And this wasn't just some normal sea creature. It spun around like a buzzsaw, making this weird noise, and would force you into these tight, claustrophobic swim paths. Now, Donkey Kong Country definitely had its share of creepy enemies and tough levels. I'm looking at you, Minecart Madness. But for the most part, it's colorful and fun. The second I saw these guys, though, I was completely freaked out. Every swim up or sideways felt like life or death, and you weren't even safe even when you had the swordfish. As a kid, I pretty much hated all water levels, but the Croctopuses, they sealed it for me. Every time I'd hear the noise of them swimming or see them spinning, my palms would get sweaty, my heart would start racing, and I would swim up or sideways in pure panic. And to this day, I still kind of flinch when I see spinning water enemies. Next up at number 6 is Pyramid Head from Silent Hill 2. There's something about Silent Hill that's so surreal and so spooky. The silence, the fog, every hallway that you walk in is just so eerie. That music really sticks out with me. You never really feel safe, not for a second playing this game. And when you first encounter Pyramid Head, you don't see him right away, you just kind of hear this metal scraping in the distance. And you know something extremely ominous is very close. You have to really power through this entire game because it's absolutely terrifying. But any moment with this guy is absolutely that much worse. The character model is so unique and memorable, and I always kind of wondered what was behind that helmet. Then again, probably better off not knowing. And Pyramid Head, he wasn't really loud or fast, he just made you kind of feel trapped, like no matter where you went, he was just going to follow you and there was no way to take him down. Even now, I still haven't gone back to replay the Silent Hill series. This enemy, and really the whole series, scared me so much back in the day, it's kept me from revisiting it for decades now. Next up at number 5 is Unagi the Eel from Super Mario 64. Alright, and I know I'm going to hear in the comments for this one, going from Silent Hill 2, a psychological horror game that's absolutely terrifying, to something a little bit more cartoony like Mario 64. But this eel absolutely freaked me out as a kid. And if you played Mario 64 back in the day, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You start the level with this beautiful soundtrack and Dire Dire Docks. It's calm, it's peaceful, it's almost hypnotic. Still one of my favorite gaming tracks to this day. It kind of makes you let your guard down. You're just swimming around, collecting stars. The level seems so innocent in the beginning. And then you see it, that dark shipwreck in the distance. You swim down deeper and deeper into the shadows, and this massive eel head slithers out. It doesn't chase you right away, doesn't even really look angry, but it will lunge out and bite you. And to get one of the stars for this level, the game actually forces you to lure him out. So it forces the encounter with this guy. And as a kid, this moment was so anxiety-inducing for me. As I mentioned before, something about underwater levels always got me. Your breath meter's ticking down, the controls and the movement are always slow, and it gives you that feeling that something worse might be hiding in the shadows. And the Unagi eel definitely had me feeling that way. It's kind of funny now, but for a lot of us, this was one of those moments in gaming that completely changed how we feel about water levels forever. Number 4, the Ski-Free Yeti. If growing up you got access to an old family computer, you probably remember this one. Ski-Free was pretty basic on the surface. It was just a simple skiing game. You ski downhill, dodging trees, rocks, other skiers. and other random obstacles like dogs that have some pretty interesting interactions when you bump into them. It was relaxing, kind of mindless, and one of those games you'd find buried in the games folder on the family PC. But then, 2,000 meters down the mountain, everything changes. That giant pixelated monster comes barreling out of nowhere, running down the slope faster than you can even react. And suddenly this calm little game turns into pure terror. You can't fight back, you can't really outrun him. I never managed to escape the Yeti back in the day, but please let me know in the comments if you somehow did. He grabs you, devours you, and it's game over. Even now, people still joke about it, but deep down, we all remember how it felt the first time he appeared on the screen. And for a lot of us, Ski Free was the first game that ever gave us a jump scare. Coming in at number 3, the evil piano from Super Mario 64. And yeah, it's another one from Mario 64, and as you can tell, I played a lot of Mario growing up. The boos in Mario 64 are already pretty mysterious. To get to this level in the first place, you have to follow a boo out into the courtyard, and then jump into this little cage that shrinks you down into this level that's surreal, dreamlike, and feels totally different than the rest of the game. You walk into Big Boo's haunt, and the music's weird, it's so creepy, and the atmosphere is just heavy. And as soon as you walk into the house, there's a door off to the left, and you walk into this little room with a piano in the corner. Nothing crazy, but when you walk up to it, it suddenly comes to life and attacks you. It's a short moment, but for some reason, this enemy is burned into my brain. That loud clanging piano when it comes to life is just a pure panic moment. And again, what makes it even worse is just how out of place it feels. Again, most Mario games are bright, colorful games, and all of a sudden you're in a shrunken cage haunted house with the piano trying to eat you. As a kid, I always found myself rushing through this level just because I wanted to end it so fast. The whole level feels like something out of a nightmare. Even now when I replay Mario 64, I still dread this level. And to this day, I still hesitate when opening these doors or walking through the rooms of this level. That's how much this enemy and this piano has stuck with me over the years.
Whoa!
At number 2, we have the Redeads from Zelda Ocarina of Time. When I first saw one, they were curled up on the floor in the royal family tomb. I didn't really even know what to think. These brown, shriveled up bodies with those wooden faces. Honestly, I thought it was maybe just a friendly NPC at the time, but then one stood up and let out that scream. I remember completely freezing as a kid. They were slow moving, hard to kill, and terrifying when they'd latch on your back and wouldn't let go. I just remember button mashing in panic trying to break free. And later, when Link becomes an adult and you go back to the town square, you find these Redeads again, just standing and slowly moving around in silence. This whole area felt so eerie to me, like a nightmarish version of a place you used to know. What really stuck with me wasn't just how scary they were, but it was the mystery. What are these things? Why are they even in the game? And sometimes after you defeat one, the other ones would just slowly walk over and just stand by the body. I don't think the game really ever explains this. I'd love to hear some theories about it in the comments. I'm sure there's a bunch out there. The Redeads also show up in later Zelda games, but none of them were as scary as the ones found in the Ocarina of Time. The screams, the sounds, the slowness, where you found them, they were just terrifying. The Redeads really traumatized anyone who ever played this game back in the day. Before we get into number 1, a quick few honorable mentions that still deserve a shout out. Big Boo from Super Mario World. Sure, he looked goofy and cartoony, but those ghosts in Super Mario World were pretty creepy, along with the ghost houses. The first time I entered one and the music kicked in and the lights dimmed, it actually felt quite spooky, especially for a Mario game. I actually recently did a full video on this one. I'll drop a link in the description if you want to check it out. The Vortex Queen and Echo the Dolphin. This is still one of the biggest tone shifts in any video game I ever played. You go from a calm ocean exploring dolphin to fighting some giant alien sea monster. This is a final boss fight that scarred an entire generation of Sega Genesis kids. The T-Rex in Jurassic Park on the Super Nintendo. This one doesn't get talked about enough. The outdoor exploration and the indoor areas of this game were quietly terrifying. You'd be walking around the jungle and suddenly a giant T-Rex or dinosaur fills the entire screen. It was a bit of a clunky game, but it felt like a giant dinosaur could jump out at you at any moment. And it really had some genuinely scary moments like this. Alright, without further ado, let's wrap this up with number 1. At number 1, we have Nemesis from Resident Evil 3. He's one of the most memorable big bads in any game I've ever played. this guy still freaks me out when I see him. Mostly because of how he flips traditional horror boss design on its head. He breaks the usual rules of clear the level, fight the boss, and move on. With Nemesis, you think you're done with an area until you hear it. That deep voice that says, "Stars." Stars. Still, every time I hear it, the panic sets in instantly. You really never know when this guy's going to show up. Sometimes he crashes through walls, sometimes he drops down from the ceiling right in front of you, sometimes he just jumps through a window, and sometimes he just starts chasing you out of nowhere. He's faster than you, stronger than you, and he just really never gives you a break. You can't just beat him once and move on, he just keeps coming back. And every time you think you've escaped, he always finds you again. It wasn't just that he was scary, it was the stress of the encounter with him. Again, you never really felt safe. Every door you opened, every corner you turned, you were just kind of waiting for him to crash through and jump scare you. Even years later, when I hear that line, "Stars," it takes me right back. Out of all the enemies in this list, Nemesis made me feel something so different. That mix of dread, excitement, and complete helplessness. And that's why he's my number one. Stars. So that's my list of the scariest enemies from the 90s and early 2000s. The ones that stuck with me long after I stopped playing these games. I'm sure I missed a few though. Which ones terrified you? Drop them in the comments. I'd love to hear the enemies that really scared you growing up. This is Hidden Saves, a channel where we dig up old games and unlock old memories. If this one brought something back for you, feel free to hit subscribe and join the conversation. More old memories coming soon. Catch you in the next one.